This is Adoration of the Dog. This is actually done in 2010. This is a sculpture, but this person did not know that they copied the Orion Nebula trapezium down, and this is an infrared version, all the way down to high detail. And of course, their inspiration was the Adoration of the Lamb, which was done in 1450, I believe, based off of Adoration of the Mystic Lamb. You've seen this. This is another version of it. And this is showing the Tree of Life, the Sumerian Tree of Life. And a lot of people think this has to do with a god, but it's not. The pineal gland represents when these people were opened their pineal gland, they were able to see God face to face, which was actually consciousness, which is actually this area out here. Let me remind you of something from the Bible real quick. In the Bible, in Genesis 32:30, it says, "And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved." Well, when these people opened their pineal glands, they were able to see God face to face. But God not as a separate being, it represents our collective consciousness. And I'm going to show you here a couple of pictures here that shows you the fractal nature of what's showing us that it's almost like DNA showing us that this area of the cosmos created this matrix that we live in. Now, as you've seen, I have found that the Nile, the celestial Nile that the Egyptians talked about, which was supposed to be a mirror of where they lived, except there were no problems. Now, I already pointed that out in one of my previous videos. The celestial Nile is actually the Orion Nebula trapezium area. This is a 5,000 by something picture. You can download this off my Facebook page. Let's just zoom in real quick. You can take a look, for example, this area right here, and if we scroll down, you can see what's actually happening is it's an exact replica of what you're seeing in the Orion Nebula. And so this area right down here, the celestial Nile that they spoke of, if you just follow your eye right here, you can see that that Nile is copied all the way through to the original Orion Nebula version. And more than that, which proves the matrix theory, is all of these areas that you see that are being replicated here. This is dealing with recently developed land. For example, here's a great one right here. This is recently developed land right here, and if you go all the way through this thing, you can see it's copied all the way through. Now, you don't have to believe it if you want to, but it's right in your face here. You can go test it for yourself, and you're not going to find anything that matches like this. This is like a copy of DNA. You can't just find this kind of thing anywhere. This is going all the way down to detailed level. This makes Christians very mad when they see stuff like this because it goes against, they believe that it goes against what they were taught, but it really doesn't actually go against what they were taught. It goes against the way it was interpreted in the church. The church interpreted Jesus as being a separate being that's going to come save us, when it actually has to do with our own consciousness, our own collective consciousness that's going to save us. And there is a correspondence between our mind and the infinite living mind, which exists out there. And I believe that the Orion Nebula is a container for that mind, and I believe that it belongs to even a greater mind, and even a greater mind, and so on the way until you get to one. And so right here I have some pictures. It shows the recent development that I just showed you a minute ago. This is the Nile as opposed to the Orion Nebula. You can see that it's a match. This is like DNA, folks. It doesn't get any better than this. Facial recognition, you know, or if you're familiar with facial recognition, they have to run facial recognition. It's like they can go through 30 million faces in like 5 minutes or even less. Do you realize what the probability would be on something like this with all these different pieces matching all the way down to such a low level like I just showed you in that 5,000 by 5,000 picture? It would be astronomical. You can't you really can't deny that that's what you're seeing. And I recommend that everybody please go out there and download all of my photos, test it for yourself, go out there and grab these pictures yourself. And as I've shown you before, I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my butt. Okay, I have sourced this all over the place, including the Mayans, ancient Egypt, the Book of the Dead, you name it. I've gone all over the place and I've looked at this stuff and it all matches up. So, and overall, what I would say that it means, I would say that the Orion Nebula appears to be some kind of a collective consciousness of us. And I believe that the reality that we exist in would be much like what you would consider, say, when you go to sleep at night and you have a dream. Then the reality that you create inside your dream would be similar to the reality that's created here by that consciousness above us. But all of us are extensions of that consciousness, you see. And so that's why we can say that we live in a holographic universe. The pictures are proving that. The pictures are proving that we live in a holographic universe. But that holographic universe that we live in is the dream of a consciousness that exists as a collective consciousness above us. The war in heaven, for example, that you hear about in the Bible, is another interesting one. Let me show you real quick. And as I've shown you before, these images can easily be extracted. I've done them for you on previous videos. This is not something I drew. You guys have seen me actually pull this stuff out. The war in heaven. This is the reptilian brain right here. This is the thalamus, where Jesus is. This is the fornix, everything I've just shown you previously. Here it is again. Here's the thalamus, fornix. Here's the Nile as compared to the brain and the spinal cord. You can see how the whole consonance of all this is amazing. The reptilian brain, right where it should be, along with the fornix and the thalamus, all placed where it should be in this super consciousness that basically is a collection of all of our consciousness. And there seems to be a correlation between that and the Nile. And when I plugged in all of the information, I found that the spinal cord was also in that whole equation. So there is definitely the law of correspondence going on here, the as above, so below, as below, so above. And I believe that what we were experiencing in this reality is created by, this is us, what I believe is us right here. This is actually us. And it is us at a higher level where we have lost duality. And when we lose duality in this reality, we're going to experience a higher level of consciousness. And I believe that higher level of consciousness comes from here. And so that's what I have to show you guys so far. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to take a break for a little while. It's much needed after all this work. And you know, guys, share this. Please feel free to download all my photos. Test it for yourself. It's definitely there. I'm not making any of it up. All you got to do is just find yourself a high-resolution picture of the Orion Nebula and these various paintings and so forth, and you can test every single bit of this yourself, all the way down to the smallest fractal details you like. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon.